Hello everyone, welcome to this video by DataSense. In this video, we are going to discuss a very important SQL question which is asked in lot of interviews. Is that you are given two tables, table 1 and table 2. And the question that is asked to you that what will be the number of rows after making multiple joins, for example, doing inner join, left join, right join, full outer join and various type of joins. And the main catch part here is that you are not allowed to query the result. So what I mean to say is that you have to tell the answer just by looking at this particular table without actually coding. Now this question is if you understand SQL joins totally logically, this will be a cakewalk for you. But if you don't understand, it will be a nightmare for you, as it is for a lot of candidates. And so based on your request, I have brought this explanation, a complete explanation to this particular question. So watch this video till the end. In this video, we are going to take this example and we will be solving, understanding the bits and bytes of how a SQL join works, and so that you can understand what are various facets to it, what are various properties, and how different elements interact with each other, right? And after we do this, there will be an assignment question in the end which you have to solve based on whatever you learned this video. So I'm very much excited for this video. So tune in to the video and watch the complete explanation. First of all, let us understand the joins theoretically, and then we will move back to Excel to see how a join works line by line. So for example, let us say we have the table A which is present here. Okay, let's say this is my table 1, or you can say table A, and this is my table B which is present. Now multiple type of joins are possible between these two tables, as we know that it could be left join, right join, inner join, or whatever type of join you see. Now which type of join depicts what? That is something, first of all, let us understand theoretically. So if I have to draw a chart for this basically, so how it will look like is, so let us say this is my A, table A, and this is my table B. What will happen that these two tables will have few rows common, few rows will exclusively belong to A, and few rows will exclusively belong to B. For example, let us say this table had 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, and this table had 2, 3, 7, 8. So what do we see that 2 and 3, these two elements are common to these two tables, correct? 2 and 3 are common to both of the tables. So where do they belong? They belong to this section, 2 and 3. Then there are few elements which are exclusive to A. For example, this 1 and 4, they are not present in B. So what will be happening? This is 1 and 4. And there are some of that. So let's say this is A, table A, this is table B. Okay, and there are these elements 7, 8 which are exclusive to table B. So how do we depict them? This part is A, which is exclusive to A. Okay, you can say this is exclusive to A. This B hash is exclusive to B, and this is C. This represents the common section of these two tables. Okay, let us denote by C. Now, what does inner join, outer join mean? So let us write it down. So first of all, let us write down what is inner join. Inner join is equal to the section which is common to both, and that is equal to section C, which is equal to 2 and 3. Correct? Now comes the left join. What is left join? So left join, you have to write it like this: inner join. So you'll write down inner join plus exclusive part of left table. Exclusive part of, what do you mean by exclusive part of left table? It means that element of table A which are not present in table B, and that is 1 and 4 here. So what will it mean? It will technically mean the section C, which is the inner join, and the section A hash, which is the part which is exclusive to left side. Again saying exclusive to left side means 1 and 4, which are not, so part which is the part of table A but not part of table B. Okay, this is called left join. So what will be left join here? If we see, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let us move towards the right join and the full outer join. What does they mean? What do they mean? For example, so let me remove this. Now let's try. Similarly, what will be right join? If I place A and B together, right join will be inner join plus exclusive part that is exclusive to B, that is B hat, which is, for example, B hat. So what it will be? It will be 2 and 3. And what part is exclusive to B? It is 7 and 8. 7 and 8. So this will be equal to C plus B hat. Remember this part always. Okay. And what is the full join? Full join means technically all the sum of all parts, that is A hat plus C plus B. So A hat plus the common part plus the B hat, that is exclusive to B. So it will be 1, 4, 2, 3, 7 and 8. This is called as full join. There will be cross join and other joins which we will be seeing in the Excel, but right now try to understand how these 4 join works. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me just create another example for you right now so that you can actually capture the meaning of this. So for example, let us say I have a table A. Let's say this is table A. This has the element, for example, 1, 2, let's say 7 and 8. And table B has the element, for example, you can say 0, 2, 12 and 13. So when you do any join, how it will work like? So let's say this is my A, this is my B, and this is my C. Okay, so this will be A hat, this will be B hat. A hat means part that is exclusive to A. First of all, let's fill by putting the inner join. Which part is common? If you see, 2 and 2 is common to this, so 2 will go here. Okay, which part is exclusive to A? It is 1, 7 and 8. 1, 7 and 8. Which part is exclusive to B hat? To B, that is B hat. It is 0, 12 and 13. 0, 12 and 13. Now we will write down what is inner join. Inner join will be equal to C, which is equal to 2. What will be left join? Left join will be equal to A hat plus C, that is part that is belongs to A but does not belong to B. So it will be 1, 7, 8 and there will be 2. Now can you tell me what is right join? Right join will be, again, it will be equal to B hat, that is part which belongs to B but does not belong to A, plus the common part, which is equal to if you see 0, 12, 13 and 2. And now comes the last part, that is right and full join. Full join will be equal to A hat plus C plus B hat. If you see, there are total 3 part segments. One segment 1, segment 2, segment 3. Sum of all the 3 segment is your full join, that is 1, 7, 8, 2, 0, 12 and 13. So this is how a full join works. This is how these 4 join works. Now a lot of you might know this thing, but this is just a quick refresher. Now the next level of concept that comes in is that what if there are duplicates here? What if there are null values? And what if there are blank values? This is something which we are going to address in this particular video. But right now my sole objective was to explain the theory of joins through this graphical manner. I hope you understood it. We will see this again in the Excel now. Before we move to Excel, I want to explain one more concept which is very important to you, is the how does null and missing value map with each other or with any element inside a table. So for example, let us say we have these two tables, table 1 and table 2. Table 1 is 1 to 1 null, this is blank or missing, and this is 1, and table 2 is 1 1 1 repeating values null and blank. For example, let us say you do inner join or you do left join. What will happen is that, let's say when you do a left join, so what technically happens is that one by one will go from top to bottom. Okay, first of all we will pick this element. How SQL works in backend, it will take this element, it will try to match with all the element here which are 1. So first of all it will match with this, second it will match with this, third it will match with this. Okay, so in a left join, what will be the output? So the first row will be 1 1, second row will be 1 1, third row will be 1 1, because it is mapping with each other one by one. Now 1 does not match with null, 1 does not match with blank. Now 2 does not find any mapping here, correct? So 2 will come here and there will be a blank here. Don't worry, I will explain you everything once we do Excel. Right now understand the concept of null. Now how does null behave, or how does this missing value will link itself to any of the element? So for that we need to understand a little bit what is null exactly and what does it mean, right? So let us understand the definition of null. Null means anything. It could be a missing value, it could be an integer, it could be a character or anything, but the main thing is that this value is unknown to us. Okay, so for example, a null in the backend could be a 0, or could be a 1, or could be a 2, it could be A, could be B, or could be a missing value. So a null, whenever it is mentioned, it means that it could be any of these values. Okay, now let's try to understand this concept. When we merge, for example, when two tables have null, for example, this table has null and this table also has null. Now when we try to match with this one, what could happen? This value null could be a 0, as I mentioned, it could be 1, 2, it could be A, B, anything. And here also it could be 0, 1, 2, A, B, anything. You do not know what is present in the backend. So whenever you try to map or merge with it, it will not merge. So a null will never merge with null because it does not know what is the value at the backend. It is an unknown value. So because it does not know the value, it will never merge with it. So we will see in the example which we discussed that whenever we try to merge null with null, it will never result in any value. So keep that particular point in mind. And now let's talk about the blank. What does blank mean? For example, when we have a blank in table or in a blank in table, a blank in table means it is a blank space. It means it is not having anything. And when you try to merge with these two, these will merge, correct? Because this is a blank space, a blank space will always map. For example, this is a blank space with 18 for example, characters, 18 character or 18 spaces. This is a blank with 18 spaces. Now when you merge with them, they will definitely merge and they will form a new row, blank and blank. So this is the concept which I explained you here. Now we will see this in the Excel part as well. So for example, when we do a left join here, null will not match with this, it will not match with this, it will not match with anyone. So what will be happening, that this will be a null because this is a left join, and this part will remain blank because null didn't find any of the match. Okay, and now let us try to understand how a blank will behave. A blank will behave, remember what I told, blank will match with blank. So a blank row will come, blank will come. Okay, so this is something which is important to understand, and one which it will again map with all these three ones. So what will be happening? It will be 1 1 1 1 and another 1 1. So this will be the output if you see after doing a left join. Don't worry, we will understand it in deep in Excel. my just whole concept was to explain null means value could be anything in backend you do not know. So it will never match with, never map with null value. Okay, but a blank means it is a blank space. So blank space will always map with it. Okay, now with this information, let's move to the Excel finally, and let's try to tackle this particular question. So let us now see this, but the first scenario where we are doing an inner join between these two tables. So the table 1 has these values, table 2 has these values. So we will try to understand. Now remember, how does inner join work? If you remember, in inner join, when you have this circle, these two circle, you have to take the common part of the two tables. So for example, when we are merging it, we will be seeing row by row how it merges with any element. So technically only those rows will come in the final result which are common to those. So only those IDs which are common to both of the tables. So first of all, let's try to understand it one by one. So what will be happening when we do a join between these two tables? First we will start with 1. Okay, now 1 will go to 2. Is 1 equal to 2? No. So it will not produce any result. Is 1 equal to null? No, it will not produce any null. Similarly, if you keep on traversing till end, you see that there is no value matching with null. So technically 1 will result in 0 value in your inner join. Okay, so this is your first. Now let us see about 2. Now when you see this 2, now first of all this 2 will go here. It will go here, so it is able to find a match. And do you see any other match with 2? No. So this 2 will result in 1 row. This 2 again, this will also result in only 1 row because it finds only 1 match. So far I hope this particular part is clear. Let me remove this. So this is 1, 1. So let me do one thing. Let me parallelly create these two tables as well, so that we understand what does the final inner join look like. So let's say this is my ID 1, okay, and this is my ID 2, and I am creating the final join, the final inner join which comes after the table. So let's do it like this. And so what will happen? Your first value will be 2. 2 will match with 2. Okay, and this 2 will match with 2. So 2 and 2 we are having. Now let us say which all other values match. So let's find out. Now let's talk about this null. We just discussed that null will never match with null, because null means value could be anything in the backend, and so a null will never map. So this null is not going to map with any of the values which are present. So this null will not give me any result. Okay, so technically this is 0, so this null will not come here. Now let's talk about 3. This 3, do we see any element common to this? Yes, we see a 3, 3. So this 3 is going to map with this 3. So we can simply write it down, 3 and 3. Now let us talk about 0. Do we see any 0? Yes, this 0 will map with this particular 0, okay, which is here. So this 3 will result in 1 row. This 0 will result in 0 has 1 row. Remember, 0 does not mean missing value. So you might get confused that, okay, can this 0 map with this? No, 0 is an integer. This is a blank space. So 0 is not equal to a blank space. Remember this always. Okay, this you might get confused. 0 is a number and blank space is a blank space. So this will result in 1 because there is 1 0 present here. Now let us try to understand this blank. Is there any blank? Yes. So this blank will result in 1 value. So let's write it down meanwhile. So after 3 1 we got a 0 and we got a 0, and then for a blank we got a blank. So a blank we will have a blank, correct? And so let me write down as, okay, now we will come to this. This null will not produce any value because we know null is not producing any value. This 3 will result in 1 value and this 1 will produce no value, correct? So what happened? Because 1 had nothing in common, 3 had common, so 3 will produce one value. So if you see, this is 3, this is 3, and we have completed our table. So this is our final table of the inner join that we have seen. So how many rows are present in this particular thing? If we see, there are total 5 elements. There are 5 rows in my inner join when we perform on this particular data set. So I hope this explanation is clear. We will see this by comparing in SQL as well, but just I hope you understand that how we are mapping these two things. A null will not match with anyone, therefore it will not come, and in inner join only those IDs will come which are common. If you see, 2 is common, 3 is common, 1 is not common, 0 is common, and there is a blank space which is common. So 2, 2, 3, 0 and blank. That's what we have received. Now 3, if you see, there it is present twice. So this 3 will map with this one, this 3 will map with this one. Okay, so total number of rows which come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, it is 6, not 5. So if we see, total value is 6. So if I see number of rows after doing an inner join are 6. Now let us try to match it with the check with the SQL by running a query. So this is my SQL. I'm using PostgreSQL. So you can use any SQL that you want. Now let us do just select star from table 1. Okay, I just want to let me just continue. Okay, so this is my table 1. It had 10 rows, and let me do select star from table 2. I just want to check if all my data set is loaded properly. Yes. Now let me do an inner join. So what we will do, select a.id1 comma b.id2 from table 1 as A, inner join table 2 as B on A.id1 equal to B.id2. Okay, this is the inner join query that we are running. Now if you see, we have got this particular output. There are total of 6 rows, and these are exactly the same which were present in my Excel. Okay, so I hope this explanation about inner join is clear, that how inner join is getting performed and how are we getting the result without even running the code. We can predict, we can tell that these many rows will be in the output table. Now let us move to the left join. Now let us try to understand the left join. Remember what we discussed just few minutes back. What is left join? So for example, when I create this Venn diagram of 2 tables, so this was the common part, that is the inner join, right? This is inner join, and this is the, if you remember, this was C and this was A hash. So A hash, that is the part of the table which belongs to left table, which is, this is the left table, but does not belong to table 2 plus inner join. This is your left join. So left join is equal to inner join plus part of the left table which does not belong to right table. So we have just done inner join, correct? So what we will try to do, we will try to, first of all, let's get the inner join table from this particular sheet. We have this inner join already present with us. So I will paste this inner join. So this part is inner join, if you see, and now I need that part of the table which belongs to table left table and does not belong to the right table. So how will we do that? First of all, let us try to analyze it using this point, that what all elements have been covered. The 2 has been taken care of, 2 is gone, this 3 is also gone, this 0 is also gone, this blank space is also gone, this 3 is also gone. So what are we left with right now? We are left with this one. Okay, so let me change the color. So we are, okay, we are left with this element. Okay, we are left with this null, we are left with this part. okay, and we are left with this part. So see, 1 null, null, 1, and they do not belong to my right table. So I will start writing them down here. So how will I write down? Now, for example, 1 will not find any match. Okay, so I will have 1 here and it will have a blank here. So let me just create this table. Okay, now so this part is of the inner join. Let me just highlight it so that you understand. This part belongs to the inner join. Okay, now I'm doing the part which is from the left part. Now see, this one will not match with any of the element here, so there will be a blank here. This null will not have any match here, so this null will be like this. It will be a blank here. Now again there will be another null because there are 2 nulls in the left table and it will not have any match, and this one will also be there. It will not have any match. Okay, so now let me remove this particular part. So what do we see, that how many rows we have? So we got 4 additional rows, and let me just, okay, these are the 4 additional rows that we have, and let me just color this with some other part. Let's say this is light green. So this is my final left join. Okay, so this will be my left join. Eventually how it will look like, this is the inner, so you can say this is the C part and this is the A hash part, okay, which belongs to my table left only. So how many rows are there? Total there were 6 initially. I have added 4 more, so the total number of rows after left join becomes 10. Okay, so it will be, the value that will come here will be 10. So I hope the value for left join is clear to you guys. Okay, now what we will do, we will similarly switch to the other sheet and we will try to fill in the value for the right. Or before that, let's do one thing. Let's try to compare with the SQL and let's see if we are getting the same result. So if we come here now, in place of inner join, if I just replace it with left join, okay, I should get 10 as my answer. Now if you see, I have total 10 rows. So it means that my left join was totally right, and there will be total 10 rows in my left join, and we can do it without coding as well. We can get the number without coding as well. Now let's quickly finish the right join. It is similar to left join, just that we will take the inner join plus the values which are from the right table exclusively. So we are here for the right join. How right join will work? It will work exactly like my left join, just that what will be happening, I will take this middle value inner join plus, so for example, this was A, this was B, this was A hat, this is B hat. Okay, so my right join will be equal to C plus B hat. So C means inner join, okay, and B hat means the data from table 2 which does not belong to table A. Okay, so data from table 2 which does not belong to table A. So let me just get the inner join value from the inner join sheet. So let me just copy this from here to here, or better, let's do one thing. Let me just copy. Okay, let's copy from inner join only because we have already done so. So I will copy it here. So this is my inner join. Okay, now similarly I will just color it just like that we did in the previous case. So let's say this is my inner join. Now I want those values which belong to table 2 but do not belong to table 1. Okay, so this is my inner join C. Now I want, for example, now let's see what all elements have been covered here. 2 has been covered. Okay, null is not covered, of course. 0 is covered, 4 is not covered, 5 is not covered, blank is covered, 3 is covered, and this null is not covered. So what all elements are left with me? If I see, I have this null remaining, I have this 4 remaining, I have this 5 remaining, I have this null remaining. So total 4 elements are left with me. So I will write them one by one. So what will be happening? First of all, I will have this null here. Okay, and because it's a right join, I will be getting a blank. So Okay, so what will be happening that because I'm doing a right join, so id2 will be here, okay, and id1 will be here, and we will be having, now let's write down the remaining part from the right join. So id from, we have null, right? So null will be present here. From id1 it will not get any match, so it will remain as blank. Now 4 will be there, okay, it will not have any match. 5 will be there, it will not have any match, and null will be there, it will not have any match. Okay, so total will be 4 more additional values. If we see now, just let me club them together, okay, and let me just give them a color coding. So this is my final right join which is present. So this is my a b hat, or you can say this is my b hat, that is data which belongs to table B but does not belong to table A. So this is my overall right join. So how many rows are there? There are total 6 plus 4. So total number of rows in my right join will also be number, it will be marked as 10. Okay, now what we will do, we will test this with by running a query in my PostgreSQL. So let us go to PostgreSQL. Okay, so I am here at my PostgreSQL. So what I will do, in place of left join, I will simply do right join, and okay, so okay, so if you see, if I'm doing a right join, I'm getting id1, id2, and this is my total number of elements. Okay, so I hope this particular part is also clear to you guys. Now you can change the order. You can select id2 first, and for example, you can move id2 here for better understanding in right join table. Okay, that's up to you. Now we will move towards the last part, of the standard joins. After that, we will cover 2 more joins, which is the full outer join. So now let us discuss the full join. Remember, in the chart that we discussed, how does it look like? For example, let us say this is my Venn diagram. Okay, so this was my common, this was my A hat, this was my B hat. So a full join will look like, will be equal to A hat plus inner join plus B hat. So what does it mean? That part of the left table which is exclusive to table 1, okay, plus inner join plus part of the table 2 which does not belong to table 1, or which means which is exclusive to table 2. For example, 4 does not belong to this, so that part will come here. Okay, inner join will come here, and my part of the left table, for example, I have this null, I have this 1 which belong to left table but does not belong to table 2, that will come here. So we will start writing the number of elements in that particular part. So let us do one thing. Let us first of all get the inner join table, and then let's keep adding to it. So I have got here the inner join table. Okay, this is the inner join table. Now what I need to get, so I have got the C part, and now I want the part which belongs to my left table but does not belong to my right table. So what were those elements? If you remember, it will be 1, it will be this null, it will be this null, and it will be 1. Okay, so we will write them, we will write them down. So it will be 1, it will be null. So let's do one thing. Let's change the color here, for example, so that we can differentiate between them. So this is 1, this will be null. Okay, this will be null, and this will be 1, and it will be blank in front of them, because for these values we didn't find any match from my table 2. Now comes the next part where we are having the value from the, so we have got A hat. Okay, we are good with, so this part is A hat. Now what we need B hat, the part of the table information which belongs to table 2 but does not belong to table 1. What is that? If you see, it will be this null. Okay, it will be 4, it will be 5, it will be, and this null, because all others are common to table 1 and they were part of inner join. So what will I do here? So I will be having null, 4, 5, and then again null. Okay, and then there will be blank here. So let me just give it a proper color as well so that you guys can differentiate. Okay, so this is my total full join which we have just drawn. So how many elements were present in my inner join? My inner join had 6. My left, that is exclusive to left, were 4, and exclusive to right were 4. So total value is 14. So let me just fill in this particular table. The full join will have 14 values. Okay, so it will have 14 values. We can save it for later. Now let's do one thing. Now let's just go to this PostgreSQL and just run and just confirm the value. So we are in the PostgreSQL. So what we will do, we will simply do full join. Okay, and if you see, we are having total of 14 rows. So I hope this explanation about inner join, left join, right join, and full join is clear to you guys. How does null behave? How does any other value? For example, this null to this null will sometime it just parses values like this. So you don't need to get confused with this. The value that we have created in the Excel is the value. The null does not match with any null. The blank match with blank, and that's how it works. Okay, so this null could generally means, for example, when this null is showing this null, it means it is a missing value. Okay, so because this null couldn't find any match, so they in some SQL they show as blank, in some they show as null. So don't get confused with that. The value which I was showing in the Excel is the true value. Okay, when you try to run this in different SQL servers, you will understand that. So this part is clear. Now we will move to the next part, which is the cross join. So now let us discuss about this interesting cross join. So the cross join does not work like your inner join, left join, right join, those kind of, like where you provide some values, it maps with it. Cross join is very simple. It is technically called Cartesian product. If you have studied mathematics, like if you remember, it is called a Cartesian product. So what does it do technically when you give two elements? For example, there is a table with there's a table with m rows. Let's say table 1 has m rows, table 2 has n rows. So the number of rows which come out is m into n. Okay, so this is the number of rows which come after doing a cross join of two tables. Let us see how it works. So for example, in cross join, each row maps with all of the rows of the other table. Okay, so there is no filtering, there is no criteria that one can only match with 1 or one can only match with where it is not 1. One will match with 2, it will match with null, it will match with 0. Okay, so for example, there are, let's say, 10 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 values here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this one will map with all the 8 values. So if I have to create the resultant table, how it will look like, let's see about that. ID1, ID2. Okay, so let me first of all create a enter for this. Okay, now, so what will be happening, ID1 will be repeating. So ID1 will map with all these values. So let's copy these all values first of all. Okay, let's say these get copied. Now all this will be 1. Okay, so you can simply drag it here. So you can, okay, and you can simply do a center formatting. Okay, and you can give them the right, for example, let's say give 12. Okay, so this will be your value of 1. So you can give it a color, for example, this. Now when you do with 2, similarly it will repeat with 2. So what will be happening, this part will repeat here again. Now it will be second element. So now what we had, we just did a match with 1, now we'll do match with 2. So for example, this color, let me change it, and this will become, let's change it to green. So it will be 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So remember, this is 10, this is 10, 20. Similarly, this pattern will keep on repeating till the end. Okay, like for example, for null, null will map with all these values. This 0 will map with all these values. This blank will map with all these values. So the total number of rows which will come out after the Cartesian product or the cross join will be 10 multiplied by 8, that is equal to 80. Okay, so it will keep on generating the values. So this is how this particular thing is done. The cross join is basically the universe of match. Okay, we create all the possible combination of matches between these two. Now what is an inner join? In inner join, we see that where, for example, the particular values match, and we take those particular elements only. For example, this is the cross join, right? Now this part of cross join will be part of inner join. Okay, so that's how we do a cross join. So I hope you understand. So this will have total of 80 values. So 80 values. Now simply let's go here. Now let's do one thing. Let's compare it by going to the PostgreSQL. Let's check the result by going to the PostgreSQL database. So we are here in the PostgreSQL. Remember, we did a full join here. Now how does this particular cross join works? In cross join, there is no concept of on ID1 equal to ID2. Why? Because we are not putting any condition. We want all the possible combination. So we remove this particular part, and in place of full join, I will simply write cross join. Okay, and when I run this particular table, I will get all. If you see, there are 80 rows. So if you see from 1 until I have 80 rows. So the cross join will give me total 80 combination of values. So I hope you understand how many rows will come after performing a cross join. Now let us move to the last join, that is the natural join. Now let us try to understand this new type of join that you might not have heard, that is natural join. How does it work? What are its limitations? Is it useful or not? That we will be discussing now. Okay, so first of all, let's see how it works. Now a natural join, by default, what happens, for example, let's say you have a table 1 here, okay, and you have a table 2 which you have given. You do not need to provide any matching key, just like we do, for example, when we write any left join, right join, or full join, we write down this on A1 equal to A equal to B, like this ID. You don't need to provide it. What it does, that it is smart enough, it checks the common column name in both the tables, and it matches based on that by doing an inner join. Okay, so let me tell you what it does. First of all, when you write down a natural join, it will search the common column name. Okay, it will search the common column name. Okay, so after searching the common column name, what it is going to do, it is going to do an inner join between these two. Now you might be having multiple questions. What if it does not find a common table? We will discuss everything, but right now just understand how this natural join works is that when you do table 1 to table 2, it will identify the common column name, okay, and it will do a inner join based on those particular two, based on that particular column name. Okay, so let us try to see this in our PostgreSQL, or for example, let us say first of all try to understand it here only. So how it will work, for example, we have this particular table, if you see. So let me first of all remove the element, remove the part from this. Okay, so right now we have these two tables, but they have different column names. If one is ID1, one is ID2. So right now we have these two tables, table 1 and table 2. Now one is has ID1, one has ID2. So what I will do right now, I will just change this particular to ID1 as 1. Okay, so how natural join will work, it will check it will do an inner join. The inner join we just did on these two tables. Okay, what will be happening, it will match, for example, 2 with 2, 2 with 2, so it will have one value, this 2 will have one value, Okay, this 3 will have one value. Okay, now this 0 will have one value, this blank will have one value, this 3 will have one value. So total 1 2 3 4 5 6. So total 6 values will be present in my natural join if I do here. So what will be those values? I will be simply let me do one thing. Let me just copy it from inner join only. Okay, so it will be this particular part. So this will be now given that my other column name is also id1. So it will find, for example, let's say this table had 10 columns, this table had 20 columns. It will identify those columns which have same name. Okay, it will check the one with the same name and it will do an inner join on that same name and it will do an inner join. Okay, first of all, let's try to see this using in Postgres. After that, we will come to that scenario when we don't have the same column name. What will happen in that case? Okay, so let's first of all move to PostgreSQL. So how does this work in PostgreSQL? So we will simply write down select. Okay, so first of all, let me do one thing. I just want to check select star from table 1. So I just want to cross check my, so it has id name and table 2 has name id2. So let me do one thing. Let me change the value of id2 from the table 2. So what I will do, alter table 2. Okay, rename id2 to id1. Okay, so now let me do select star from table 2. If I do table 2, I have this variable name as id1, and if I do table 1, I have id1. Okay, now when I do natural join between these two tables, what will happening? Select star from table 1, it will be natural join, okay, table 2. Remember, you don't need to provide any on statement here. Natural join does not need that. You just need to write something like this. Now what will happen? It will do an inner join between these two tables based on id1 and id1 in the both of the tables. So if I run, you see we have got 6 rows which we had exactly in the inner join which we did earlier. So I hope this particular part is understood, that natural join, it takes the two tables, it dynamically checks two columns with the same name and it does a natural join between those two. Now the next question is, what if two tables do not have the same column name? So for example, let us do one thing, alter table 2, okay, rename id1 to id2. Okay, let's do this. Now let me do this, select star from table 2. So it should have id2 and my table 1 has id1. Now when I do for example natural join, what will happen? Select star from table 1, natural join table 2. Now what will happen? It will not be able to find a common column name. So instead of doing an inner join, it will do a cross join and it will produce a Cartesian product. If you see, 80 rows will be generated here. Okay, so this is something to understand how does natural join work. If two tables have the same column names, it will do a inner join. If the tables do not have any same column name, it will do a cross join. Okay, now let us go back to the Excel. So we are here in the Excel. Now if you remember, this was originally id2. Okay, now because these two tables didn't have the same column name, so the natural join will be technically a cross join. Okay, so the value will come out to be 80. This is used very rarely. I mean, you won't see its application. Like, I haven't seen natural joins application a lot because this is a very confusing at times and it's a complex. I mean, it can be achieved through inner join, it can be achieved through cross join. So there must be scenarios, but this is something you should know, because interviewer might ask this, because inner, left, right, full, most people know. Cross join also people know, but natural join people do not know. Okay, so to summarize, let me just write it down here so that you guys can understand what is a natural join. It has two possibilities. Okay, the first possibility is same column name. Okay, if the two tables have same column name, it will do an inner join. Okay, and if the two tables have different column names, okay, remember column name I'm talking about. Okay, column name, it will do a cross join by default. So this is what something to understood. Now let us try to fill in this particular let's go to the summary part where we had this particular sheet. Okay, so we'll try to fill in this with whatever we did. Remember, the inner join had 6 values, left join had 10 values, right join had 10 values, full outer join had 14 values. Okay, so let me just merge it. So this had 14 value, cross join had 80 values. This is either 80 or 6 depending upon your scenario, because in this question the two tables had they didn't have the common name, so it will produce 80, but you should know what will be the possible outputs of these particular scenarios. Okay, so now we have completely answered this particular question, that what will be the number of rows after below joins, and you do not need to run a SQL code. You can simply complete this based on the logic that we discussed. Now I'm giving you an assignment with this video. Okay, try to complete that and comment that below the video. I will provide feedback to your answer. Completely watch this video and try to solve that particular question through the same logic that we have applied. So this is the assignment that is there. It is in the last sheet. If you see, there's table 1 with these values, table 2 with these values. There are total 10 here, 8 here. Okay, try to get the number of each of the value. Like there are total 6 type of joins. Try to get the number for each. Comment below the video your answer, and we will I'll provide the feedback to your solution. Okay, so I hope this particular explanation was clear to you. Keep this particular thing in mind. It is very extensively asked in interviews. Once you understand all these concepts, joins will totally be ingrained in your mind. Okay, that's why I have tried to explain everything bit by bit. Okay, so solve this. Try to build this explanation in your mind and speak to yourself. Then you will remember this for a long time. Okay, so thanks for watching the solution. I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to our channel if you like the explanation. If there is any feedback that you didn't like about the video, that my explanation was not good, you can comment below the video, and I'll come up with more such explanation, more such conceptual explanation, be it related to SQL, Python, Power BI, any related to data analytics. Okay, so please subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.